Hello, Monday Sciences. How is everyone? Apologies for the radio silence. Also, I'm recording this as I'm walking. Sorry, I'm just looking at a bird that was carrying the cable as I'm walking. Anyway, my plans to finish watching Dropout. I kind of forgot you need time to be able to watch these and then carve out the time to go through it and write up, which I have not been able to do.
Science, technology, medicine, health. These four things make the world go round. Without them, we couldn't exist. This is the Monday Science Podcast, a weekly show bringing you the latest research and news in technology, medicine, and health, answering your questions or finding experts in the field to answer them. Your host is a pharmacist, an award-winning scientist. She leads her own research group and is the founder of King's College London Fight the Fakes, a tad bit on the qualified side. Welcome to Monday Science. Here's your host, Dr. Bahija Raimi Abraham.
Hello. It's been a while. There's been a lot going on. But firstly, how are we? How is everyone? How is everyone doing? The audio you heard at the start of this episode was me walking across London Bridge. I was actually flying out the next day and there was a whole issue with my PCR test. Where I was flying out to, I thought the PCR test was 72 hours from departure, but it was 72 hours from the time of arrival in said country, which was in a different time zone. And when I was trying to upload the documents in order to be able to check in, I thought everything was fine. And then when I was trying to upload my documents, my PCR test, which was negative, lovely. But when I was trying to upload the PCR test, it was saying no, and then I had to go back. And I think there was an issue that the app had just said 72 hours. But when you go on the government's website, it highlights that it's 72 hours on arrival. So I was frantically going in the morning of the day before I was traveling to do a same day PCR test. And I was just so stressed. And I don't normally drink coffee. I actually am a tea drinker. The most I would drink coffee-wise would be a mocha and the odd occasion a cappuccino. But after getting the PCR test, and these things are so expensive, but I had to do a same-day PCR test. And I just want to add, I was so proud of myself doing the 72-hour test because my main aim in life is to just be an efficient person and contributing member of society. I had planned everything. I was like, okay, I'll go get my PCR test. Then it was 24-hour results, which was fine. And then I would do the document stuff the day after. And then that would give me more time to be able to go shopping. I mean, I haven't really done any in-person shopping, but when you're going on holiday, you want to just have, some bits, don't you? I was planning on actually venturing into the shops instead of going and trying to do stuff online with the risk of me purchasing and then it just being rubbish. I'm really not sure why I'm delving into this, but anyway, it didn't work out. I ended up having to do same-day PCR test. It was all quite expensive, but everything was fine and I was able to travel. But with all of that, I tried to, again, in my Zen plan, my plan was also to record the episode a couple of days before and just, and everything would be fine. But with everything that happened, it was also chaotic. I actually did do a recording on my way back from the test center and I decided to walk with what did I get? I got some form of coffee-based drink. I don't think it was a cappuccino. I don't know. Was it a cappuccino or a mocha? Whichever way, there was a lot of coffee in there, so I was a little bit buzzed. I strive to try and have structured episodes and structured formats, but it doesn't always work, and I did mention it in the recording. So, sorry, what's been recorded, what you just heard at the start of this episode was me recording myself as I'm strolling along and clearly not with a great attention span, getting distracted by a bird. So it was fun actually recording the episode. I'm going to share snippets of it in today's episode after I've waffled on. I don't have seasons with Monday Science, we just have episodes, don't we? And I'm wondering if I should start doing seasons, but then maybe this unstructured, my life is chaotic at the moment. It wasn't just the PCR test, there were other things going on. But I don't know if it's like my life is chaotic at the moment, I'm just going to stop recording. Sorry, it's not the most professional, but it is It is real. Like, that's just real life, where you can plan all the things and it might not come together. In fact, I remember during my PhD, I think it was, my supervisor said to me that I should operate with the 1.5 rule. And I give this advice, my researchers and people in my research group, put in the 1.5 rule. And I struggle with that. So the 1.5 rule is you calculate the amount of time you expect something to take. So if you're doing, writing a paper, or doing something, if you think it's going to take you a week, then add the 1.5 rule. You give yourself some leeway for contingencies. But I feel we all naturally, and it's meant to help also, because we naturally underestimate how long something's going to take. So if we think a paper's going to take a week, I'm just relating this to my world, as it were. If I think a paper's going to take me a week to edit, a lot of the time it will actually take me like 3 weeks, because A, the paper isn't the only thing I'm focusing on, but then B, just you may not be in the mood. And I'm very much somebody who I do things when I'm in the mood to do it, and I acknowledge if not the time, can't do it, because I want to always be giving my best and putting my best foot forward and presenting my best. So even when it comes to the episodes and each podcast episode, I record because I'm looking forward to record. I'm looking forward to the experience, the moment, and then the moment I'm not and I just can't do it, I don't record, which is what has happened. So that's what's been going on. Today's episode, I'm gonna play the rest of that recording. So what happened, I just was walking and I was recording episode. The sound isn't great in parts, I've had to remove those parts, but I hope you enjoy it anyway. And this is my return back to normal scheduling before my little hiatus, because this hiatus of the podcast is also a hiatus of social media as well. I haven't really been posting, apologies. I've not really been posting on social media either, but when I say social media, I mean mainly Instagram and TikTok every so often. But feel free to follow me on there at Dr. Bahija Raimi A. That's for both Instagram, TikTok, Twitter as well, but I'm not really using Twitter at the moment. Is it related to Elon Musk? I don't think it is. I'm just not. I think I've forgotten how, all jokes aside. So I'm resuming back. But one of the things I did want to say was that my hiatus has been across the board whilst I've been trying to gather myself. I've had a lot of different things going on, both professionally and personally. Some good, some bad, which just required me to focus. But things are back to normal. You should be getting regular episodes from me. You can follow Monday Science on YouTube, but literally just the channel is Monday Science. Please do follow us, and even if it's just out of support and anticipation for all the things that I promised, that would be great. So I'm gonna upload the rest of my recording on my walk. It is so chaotic, and as anybody would know, I'm not a fan of the chaos. I do like the structured episodes, but you know what? Sometimes the chaos has to come through, and maybe the chaos is what works because it's authentic, and me in my raw form panicking as I'm trying to navigate the streets of London. But anyway, so this is just a welcome back episode, and I really do hope everybody's well. I hope everyone's doing well. I hope in my absence things have been going well for everybody else. I feel like now that the pandemic, I was about to say the pandemic is over. It's not been declared over. Now all the different lockdowns, at least in the UK and other parts of the world, then we're not really having many lockdowns. There's so many things that I'd like to talk about post lockdowns and the effects. So there were things I wanted to talk about even when in the midst of it all, why there's been an increase in domestic violence, why there's been an increase in eating disorders, not just in adults, but particularly in children. Many, many different topics that I'd like to talk about. There's also been an increase in cults as well. For those who don't know, I'm quite interested in cults. I find the topic very interesting, and I'd love to know more about the psychology and the science behind cults, but it's been hard to get a speaker, a guest to come and an expert rather to come and talk to me about these things. But there are lots of questions, so I've been trying to answer them myself, and I'm going to share the answers that I found from the literature with you, with the hope that will entice some experts to come and clarify certain points. That's it from me. I'm going to upload and share now the rest of my recording, and I really hope you enjoy it.
It's interesting how when things happen, people walk in. When things happen, when just all of a sudden your to-do list is not doing, there just seems to be so stuff on one plate, and then all the structure that I'd like to have, I'm like, well, as long as I record and I keep you guys in the loop on, at the end of the day, what you are seeing is the realities of being a scientist, the realities of being an academic. There are peaks and troughs in terms of workload intensity. Anyway, I would say that there are moments in one's planning all the different things that I do. I got really on top of it, and then one thing maybe doesn't go to plan, and then you're like out of sync. But anyway, I'll use this recording as I walk to a little update. So right now, anybody who's on Instagram, I document the highs and lows of my grant writing success or lack thereof at times. However, things are on the up. I received some funding, very exciting, and this is going to be really great for the group. So that seems good. Like, things are actually going well. It just, with the addition of grants, with the addition of some other things, it's meant it's quite difficult to keep on top of science. I'm actually quite upset about that because Monday Science means a lot.
Me again. I just wanted to jump in with this next part. I'm so sorry for the sound, but I was recording on my phone using headphones that weren't great. But so the next part is me talking about the Dropout series. That's what I'm talking about. So the Dropout was a series that in the UK it was on Disney Plus, and it was about a company called Theranos and the founder Elizabeth Holmes, and she dropped out of, I want to say Stanford, I think. That's where she dropped out from. And so it's basically, it came off the back of an ABC audio podcast, which was about the rise and fall of Elizabeth Holmes and her company Theranos. And I had made promises to talk about she was from Stanford University. I had made promises to talk about my thoughts and views on the series, which I thoroughly enjoyed. And what I say in this next part is that I hadn't heard of this issue and this company and Elizabeth Holmes before. So this is me sharing my thoughts on this episode and the series and the episodes I'd watched so far.
The chaos. I'm confident enough to post this, but this is real life. But anyway, I think the Dropout series, watched up to 4, I think. I haven't had a chance to watch. I would say my thoughts on that episode series, the acting is amazing. I didn't know about this story, and it's interesting because the principle of the concept of the company, which is to be able to diagnose, using small amounts of blood to be able to diagnose a whole range of conditions, sounds doable, but I wonder if that's me taking that into account now, as opposed to what it would have been. The concept to me sounds sound, but what the series shows is that the application, the actual practicalities of getting the device wasn't possible. And what I'm finding so far with the series has been just research ethics and integrity. So important. This idea of when somebody has what it is they're trying to achieve, maybe sometimes they're blinded by this is what we see. Something that episode I saw, there's a lot in the series, a lot of management style. It's one thing if you as a leader, you have your pressure for success, but how much of pressure do you put forward on something I can relate to? You may be feeling pressure for success, but then you still have a team that you need to manage, and you can't do that if the foundation of all of that is fear. That's not going to get. One thing the series shows so far is that health is a business, which we know. And, I'm not quite sure if the founder, her focus was money as opposed to, was her financial? I don't get the impression it was. Was her motive to try and help her mother? Had a fear of injections as well? Maybe. It's not clear what motivation was by the episodes I've watched, because there's a point where she's getting really sick, but I still think that's her primary focus. Anyway, I'm going to try and finish watching the remaining episodes, and I will discuss it at a later date, hopefully in a less chaotic manner. But here we are. Why am I walking towards the house? Okay, sorry, anyway, sorry, I was just trying to keep roadworks where I'm walking, and because I am concentrating on what I'm saying, but then there was an arrow that was like, come this way, expedition at Somerset House. Okay, so I think that's all I'm going to say. I feel like I've given you guys a lot, not necessarily a lot of knowledge in terms of intensity that is this episode. London is becoming a bit like the tube, it's all a bit stressful. So I walked back. I actually did mention this when Dr. Hannah Roberts, who does career coaching, and her episode is great. Apologies, I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but I'll put a link to her description. And I really like that she records her episodes sometimes while she's gone for a walk on the hill. It was brilliant. And I've been working towards being less structured in my social media content, which I had. And then I might start doing an episode a month where I'm just walking through London, sharing my thoughts about science. Who knows what else? I think maybe I'll do an episode a month through London and having my ramblings. That might happen. So it would like, not just the chaos, but the lack of structure. It's interesting because I'm usually quite a consistent, but sometimes life and things are getting in the way from me, and I'm having to adapt and realize, you know what, it may not be convenient for me to record my episodes how I would like to, but I can multi and record them another way. Anyway, I am going to go. I've waffled enough. I hope you're all having a great day. I hope you've been able to take something away from this rather chaotic episode. And next week, well, no, I can't promise anything. I'm not going to say, oh, next week's episode, more structured, more concrete science. I don't know. But whichever way, I hope you have a brilliant rest of the day, and we'll catch up soon.
You've been listening to the Monday Science Podcast, a weekly show bringing you the latest research and news in science, technology, medicine, and health. We hope you've gotten some useful and thought-provoking info from the show, and we hope you had fun along the way. We know we did. We'll be back soon. But in the meantime, hook up with us on our website at www.mondaysciencepodcast.com. Shoot us an email at info@mondaysciencepodcast.com. Find us on Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube at Monday Science, and access episode summaries at mondayscience.medium.com. See you next week on the Monday Science Podcast.